Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another installment in MediaPost webinar series. I'm Mike Winkleman, Content Director for Bespoke by MediaPost, and we have a great presentation for you all today put together by our friends at MNTN. MediaPost webinars bring together the media, marketing, and advertising community to learn more about the methodologies and technologies across a variety of categories. Brought to you by today's top solutions providers, marketers, and practitioners. Leading today's webinar will be Jessica DeLeon, Account Director at MNTN. Today's webinar is titled, The Dog Days Are Over. Summer's Heating Up for CTV Advertisers. Having passed through the unofficial start of summer this past weekend, many of you may be looking forward to a relaxing summer break. At least that's the way it used to be. No new shows, no big advertising efforts, lots of time to sit by the pool and clear your mind. Well, sorry, or maybe happy to say that those days, those dog days, are over. As Jessica will demonstrate in her presentation, summer is now the time to launch sizzling campaigns that generate holiday size impact mid-year. Using new tools and strategies, a number of industries and brands, as Jessica will show you, have found great success and created summers to remember. And using the database insights that Jessica will share, so can you. Before we get started, just a reminder, after the presentation, we'll have some time for a Q&A session. So submit your questions at any time during the presentation in the question box that you'll find on the GoToWebinar interface on your screen. With that, let's turn the presentation over to Jessica.
Thanks, Mike, for the wonderful intro. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the agenda and dive right in. All right, so first we're going to talk about why summer advertising is heating up, how MNTN Advertisers fared in the summer of 2023 by the numbers, strategies to help maximize performance during the season, and then finally case studies of brands succeeding in the summer. Right. So summer is a time for relaxation, lazing by the pool, and coping with the fact that there are rarely any good new TV shows released during the summer. Well, at least that's the way it used to be. For decades, summer TV has been synonymous with reruns or mid-season replacements that are here today and forgotten tomorrow. But the summer lull is a thing of the past. Streamers consistently release hot new shows during the summer. Just look at FX's The Bear or Netflix's Squid Game, and advertisers are eager to ramp up their campaigns throughout the season to attract a more relaxed, but still very tuned-in audience. You don't have to take our word for it either. You just have to look back at 2023 data to see that the summer lull has been energized. The summer is heating up and to the right. The last few summers have been set against the challenging backdrop of inflation. Oh, let me think I went too far. Sorry about that. Here we go. The summer is heating up and to the right. The last few summers have been set against a challenging backdrop of inflation, and 2023 was no different. However, consumers continue to spend. In fact, shopping categories like clothing, outdoor gear, and home-related goods saw a rise in interest last year. But even in 2022, we saw indications that the dog days of summer were over. Consumers spent 10% more in the US on retail and food in 2022 than in 2021. The total amount of spent on flights was 5 times greater in summer 2022 versus summer 2021. And in 2023, while consumers did curb some spending on luxury items, one category saw a repeat but not unexpected high, summer travel. 49% of Americans said they had planned to travel more in 2023 than the previous summer. And to look ahead this year, Americans will spend 50% more on travel in 2024 than in pre-pandemic 2019, rising 6% from 2023 to around $314 billion. So despite the macroeconomic conditions of 2023, consumers continue to be engaged and ready to spend. What does this inherently mean? The last 2 years show that consumers have increased their spending in certain categories. Unless brands in these categories are struggling to keep pace with demand, they would be well advised to advertise in order to build stronger pace with demand. They would be well advised to advertise in order to build stronger brand and capture that demand. Now let's take a look at some data on how our own advertisers fared in the summer of 2023. Just a reminder, summer runs from June 20th through September 22nd. That means Q3, July through September, is the closest thing to a summer quarter that we've got, give or take a few weeks. We analyzed campaigns launched on Mountain Performance TV in the summer quarter of 2023 to see how well our advertisers performed during the season. We focused our attention on verticals that could be appropriately tied to the vibes of summer, like travel. When you think of summer months, you think of summer travel, making this one of the biggest summer industries around. Health. Between getting yourself feeling confident and happy to hit the beach to just not wanting to get sick before a big vacation, health and wellness is a perennial topic every summer. Food and drink. Some people want to laze on the beach all summer, and for others, we view summer as like a smorgasbord of opportunities to eat delicious food. Home and garden. Some people see home and garden as a hobby, others as a lifestyle, but we can all agree it's way easier to tend the garden when you don't have work deadlines in the back of your mind. Recreation and hobbies. What better time to re-engage with an old hobby or start a new one when you're far away from your desk? Okay, so what summer brands saw? Now let's get into the data, segmented by different performance metrics to give you an idea of which summer verticals performed best. Looking at conversion rate year over year, Q3 2022 to Q3 2023. Travel top conversion rate with 356% increase, followed by recreation and hobbies and food and drink. Looking at CPA, travel again topped with 71% decrease. Again, a decrease for CPA is a good thing. So, and home and garden wasn't far behind, followed by food and drink. ROAS, home and garden topped with nearly a 17% increase. In CPV, health saw a decrease of 52%, followed by food and drink and travel. And looking at visits, health saw an 80% increase, followed by recreation and hobbies. From a high level, these numbers illustrate what can be achieved from summer advertising during the summer quarter. There was a huge surge in interest in travel, so it's not a surprise that our travel advertisers saw the highest conversion rates. Because consumers' natural inclination is to research health and wellness products online before they buy, it makes sense that health topped the list in visits. Each industry ultimately has different audiences and goals, but if your customers are in the summer mindset, you should deliver ads that meet this moment because they are expecting it. And even if your brand isn't uniquely suited for the summer, you can still see major performance wins. More on that in a second. But we did want to be transparent about two things involving this data. First, travel should be considered a bit of an outlier. There was a huge surge in travel following the constraints from COVID that hit the industry hard in 2020 through 2022. There was so much pent-up demand that once restrictions were lowered, travel, and by extension travel advertising, inherently boomed. This point can help shed light on general organic growth trends from these verticals. Each year since 2020, we've slowly come closer and closer to getting back to our pre-pandemic behaviors, but some are coming back faster than others. As we mentioned before, inflation has been in the backdrop of the last several years. Customers may have felt more comfortable dedicating their family budgets to vacation plans they had put off prior to the pandemic, but with disruptions in the workforce and increased costs for basic goods, they may have also been less inclined to, for example, spend a lot of money purchasing a new deck for their house or investing in a hobby they picked up during the pandemic. This can make performance fluctuate from industry to industry during the summer. Second, along with the regular enhancements that we make to our platform's performance technology, the year-over-year increase in consumer spending in 2023 is likely also a factor that can explain this growth. However, we believe you can't completely discount the impact of great creative and strong audience strategies. In fact, those are two key areas we encourage our advertisers to focus on to deliver the strongest performance for their campaigns. Understanding your audience's wants and needs and delivering a message that will resonate and stick in their minds is key. Consistent iterative adjustments to these strategies can help improve outcome no matter the brand or performance goal. Let's take a look at some audience strategy best practice. You should always run prospecting campaigns throughout the year. That's because today's prospecting campaign not only results in performance of its own, it mints your customers of tomorrow, people who aren't yet aware of your product and therefore haven't started their customer journey. This can be especially important in the period just before you launch a seasonal campaign. Our most successful customers carve out a year-round testing budget they can use to explore new audiences and creative. They then plot a learning path forward that allows them to profitably scale their spend throughout the year, culminating in the most spend being dedicated to support their biggest sales moments. This test and learn approach can pay big dividends, as evidenced by one of our top advertisers, Rumpel, a company that makes blankets for hiking, camping, the beach, and other summer adjacent activities. They tested a new audience that netted 35% stronger conversion rates from their core audience. They discovered this through experimentation. It wasn't something they anticipated. And let's not forget about layering in retargeting. An effective retargeting strategy takes into consideration where the user is in the journey. Perhaps they viewed a certain number of pages or added an item to their cart without going through the purchase. Therefore, you should instead retarget users based on the way they currently interact with your brand. You can also retarget your existing customers. Think of this as a low-hanging fruit, as it's less costly to re-engage existing customers than find new ones. All right, moving on to some creative strategy best practices. Ensure that your ads, concepts, messaging, and CTAs can be tailored to your audience segments and performance goals. Remember that small changes can make a big difference. You don't always need to reinvent the creative wheel. A great example comes from the aforementioned Rumpel. Rumpel supported their prospecting and retargeting campaigns with effective bespoke creative and turnkey variations. Turnkey variations allow you to subtly change the tone or message of your ad so it can target different audiences or goals without the need for reshoots. For instance, if you know that at the start of your campaign that you want to attract outdoor enthusiasts as well as people who wish they were more outdoorsy, then you can strategize your creative production so you can produce variations on hooks, scripts, and CTAs, each tailor-made to specific audiences. As you can see in the example shown here, Rumpel created 2 different opening hooks to target 2 different audience segments without having to produce 2 completely different ads. So turnkey variations help you stay creatively agile by tactically swapping out hooks, CTAs, and more. And if and when your ads don't push the needle on your objectives. Also, we want to be mindful of ad fatigue, which is what happens when someone sees the same ad over and over again, tuning it out in the process. You want to proactively plan for it, rather than wait for ad performance to slacken. Do this by planning regular ad refreshes, using A/B testing to determine which ads perform best before scaling to your entire audience. As illustrated by the performance results from our advertisers in 2023, they know their audiences and they delivered creative that could speak to them. And the results prove that this strategy worked. All right, now let's take time out from the data and look at how one of our advertisers was able to drive performance during the summer season. The Travel Corporation is a family-run multinational company comprising multiple businesses with a commitment to making travel matter. They were looking for a way to drive performance for 2 of their most popular brands, Contiki, a travel company that caters to 18 to 35-year-olds, and Trafalgar, a full-service travel management company that caters to leisure and corporate clients. With summer around the corner, the Travel Corporation wanted to increase new website traffic while continuing to close business. Having primarily focused their advertising efforts on paid search and social media in the past, they were eager to reach customers on a fresh channel. CTV appealed to them. They had previously run ads on CTV, but the platform they previously used didn't include in-depth measurement or reporting tools. This made it difficult to determine how effectively the channel was for them. Instead, they found the solution they needed in Mountain Performance TV, which enabled them to seamlessly launch multiple CTV campaigns for their different brands. Additionally, Mountain's comprehensive measurement and reporting tools allowed them to see the true impact of their advertising efforts. To accomplish their objective, engaging with and driving new business, they used performance TV prospecting for both Contiki and Trafalgar. While the focus of each campaign was similar, they needed to target different consumer groups to meet each brand's needs, like adventure travelers and sorority and fraternity members for Contiki, or leisure travelers and well-traveled financial strategists for Trafalgar. Mountain's robust reporting tool allowed them to thoroughly track their CTV campaign performance across brands, data which ultimately helped them prove out the value of this channel. After launching Performance TV, they saw great results. Trafalgar achieved a ROAS of 5x and a CPV, a cost per visit, of $10.47. Kentucky experienced similar success, with a ROAS of 4x and a CPV of $5.72. Additionally, both brands had increased their average order value, beating their site-wide averages. Kentucky's new AOV was 38% higher, while Trafalgar's was 6% better. Okay, so what about industries that don't scream summer? Well, you may say, of course, those summer verticals do well. They're uniquely suited for the season. But what about the industries that don't feel especially summery? Well, compared to Q3 2022 and Q3 2023 data across a number of verticals, including business and consumer services, pets and animals, career and education, and automotive. And what we discovered is that they saw great performance too. This is what less summery brands saw. So conversion rate, business and consumer services, top tier with 41% increase year over year, followed by pets and animals and career and education. So during the summer, it feels like the last thing we want to do is think about work. Sure, you may not want to think about business while on vacation, but it invariably comes up. And because we are more relaxed, we can be more receptive to ads for products that will make our lives way easier once we turn off our OOO reminders. No wonder that the business and consumer services with the leader in CVR, visits and CPV. So automotive visits top this with nearly 168% increase year over year, followed by business and consumer services, career and education. Cars are top of mind year round for consumers, making automotive not feel uniquely tied to summer. Besides, when we think of summer travel, our minds typically go to planes. Even though air travel is one of the most popular modes of vacation transportation, road trips remain a summer staple. And people want cars to make their rides even more relaxing, which can be one reason why there was such a large increase in site visits for the automotive industry. Looking at ROAS, automotive again top tier with a 2,722% increase year over year, followed by career and education. So obviously automotive is far and away the winner for this metric. But let's highlight career and education for a second and why it might have seen such great performance. Despite summer school being a thing, summer is usually synonymous with no school. But even career and education brands saw major wins during the season. One reason why that may be the case, typical deadlines for registration for fall semester take place sometime during the summer months, making it a unique time to advertise an educational service or school for prospective students, which may help explain why they saw great ROAS in the quarter. Looking ahead to summer 2024. And so as we look ahead to summer 2024, it's clear that the summer season is prime time for brands to secure shoppers who haven't been shoppers in the past and make some bold moves to generate greater returns. As we head into the 2024 summer season, the heat continues to rise, especially for those summer inclined verticals. Let's dig back into the data to see how they are doing. Comparing Q1, Q2 data from 2024 so far with 2023 data from the same period. Our advertisers have seen CVR, health increased 89%, followed by travel with 11.3%. ROAS, home and garden increased by 56%, and health increased by 100%. CPV, home and garden decreased by 84%, followed by recreation and hobbies, health, and travel. For CPA, home and garden top tier, with nearly a 93% decrease, followed by food and drink, health, and recreation and hobbies. As you can see from the numbers, these summer industries have had a great start to the year, and it also highlights two final best practices we wanted to share. All right, let's take another break from the data to look at one final case study. This one comes from our customer CampSpot, a premier travel booking site for campgrounds, RV resorts, glamping, and more. CampSpot was faced with the challenge of building brand awareness in the lead up to the peak summer campaign season. They started spending from March onwards to capture early bird travelers and continued to ramp up their spend the closer to summer to attract last-minute bookings. The brand was open to different inroads to tapping into their ideal audiences and partnered with Mountain Performance TV as a new and measurable way to experiment with their marketing channel, test ad creative, and ultimately deliver in on their goals. After seeing favorable results from their holiday campaigns over November and December period last year, they repurposed their existing creative for the upcoming season by utilizing lifestyle branding. highlighting the great outdoors and even showcasing the CampSpot app to entice their audience to explore their website and app further. CampSpot leveraged Mountain Performance TV's prospecting and retargeting features to reach their in-market audiences across the full funnel. For their prospecting campaigns, they identified net new users with an affinity for outdoor adventure, including outdoor enthusiasts, travelers, campers, and hikers. They also retargeted users who had previously viewed one page or more on their website. The brand outperformed their aggressive goals on every level, including decreasing their cost per acquisition month to date by 30%, driving a 225% higher ROAS. They decreased their CPV by 22%, and their conversion rate increased 13% month over month. All right. The success Mountain Advertisers saw in the summer of 2023 demonstrates that any industry can benefit from the performance marketing capabilities of connected TV. Thanks to these capabilities, it's easier to track and measure when a user sees a TV ad and takes an action, turning the biggest screens into the home into a performance channel. But you won't be able to see numbers like those ones we share today if you aren't using a platform built for performance. That's where Mountain Performance TV comes in. Our platform is singularly focused on driving performance outcomes. We do that in a few different ways. Mountain gives advertisers the ability to find and convert their audience across over 150 different streaming TV networks, and the capabilities to target ads to hundreds of thousands of audience segments throughout third-party data providers. Mountain's platform also makes A/B testing easy and auto-optimizes campaigns for success. Mountain is integrated with Google Analytics and Rockerbox, so you can see results side by side with other channels in your preferred measurement platform. Plus, with our real-time CTV attribution model, Verified Visits, you'll be able to know just how much performance was driven by your CTV campaigns. Mountain's Verified Visits was designed to solve the problems of legacy CTV measurement solutions and provide marketers with an accurate, deterministic way to view the unique performance driven by their CTV campaigns. Shoppers can't convert on a television, which means you need to track their journey across every device in the household to ensure your campaigns get proper credit. Verified Visits gives you the insight into when viewers see your ad on a TV and whether they visit your site and convert afterward using their desktop, tablet, or phone. Once your ad is served, Verified Visits tracks the viewer's IP addresses and device IDs. If those IDs visit your website in a window of time defined by you, it counts as a visit both in Performance TV's reporting and Google Analytics. That means once a user completes an ad, it also allows you to tie those visits, conversions, and other key metrics to your campaign, giving you total insight into direct response performance. By solving the CTV attribution problem, Mountain offers brands the insights they need to make informed decisions across their marketing mix and get the most out of their investment in performance. With our platform's digital marketing capabilities, you can deliver great performance not only during the summer, but year-round. And with a year-round evergreen approach, you'll also be able to supercharge your seasonal campaigns for maximum performance. All right. So key takeaways. The summer lull is a thing of the past. With streaming platforms distributing hot new content during the season and shoppers continuing to spend, summer performance just keeps heating up. Whether or not your business has direct ties to the season, any industry can see major gains by advertising during the summer. And lastly, a combined approach of seasonal advertising alongside evergreen campaigns can help deliver better outcomes faster, as long as you have a platform built for performance. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jessica. That was great. We have some time now for a few questions from the audience, which we'll get to in just a minute. During the Q&A session, please feel free to keep putting your questions into the question box on the side panel. Also, a quick reminder, you'll get an email from Mountain in the next few days with both the recording of the session and the deck that Jessica presented. Okay, let's get to some questions. Let's start with this one. If targeting and measurement on CTV has become as robust as search and social, what's the best way to align these channels to complement one another and prevent redundancy?
Yeah, great question, Mike. So paid social, paid search, and CTV all play an important part of the marketing mix. And most importantly, they do it without boxing one another out. Think about today's consumer. They're using an omni-channel approach to shopping by researching and reviewing multiple channels before making a purchasing decision. So how many people here do that? And I'm sure that's a really high number. Being present on a variety of channels meets those customers wherever they spend their digital time to continue the conversation. Staying with them on that customer brand journey and elevating your brand status. Being everywhere with targeted advertising, including being on CTV, makes even the smallest of brands look like really big ones. So aligning your performance channels together can make a big impact on your campaign outcomes. And this may sound a little biased, but when you're aligning your performance channel mix, we suggest you place connected TV at the center. This allows you to deliver a high value message to your audience when and where they potentially are more receptive to that message, like as they are relaxing while streaming their favorite TV shows. All of your other channels can then support and reinforce that CTV ads message. Here's an example. When someone sees a TV ad, they're getting a dedicated 15 to 30 seconds to really become educated in your offering or your brand. Once they have that initial education, all your channels from search to social just have to remind them of that message to encourage users to visit your site. So you're letting the channels lift the way they were designed to lift and really giving them that assist that will drive the user down the funnel. Additionally, adding CTV to your mix can boost the performance of other platforms. Using our first-party data, we looked at advertisers who leveraged CTV, paid search, and paid social to examine how adding CTV to their ad mix impacted performance on the other two channels. Our analysis found that conversion rates increased by 9% and 22% for paid social and paid search respectively, 90 days after adding CTV to the mix. And the average session duration increased by 49% and 19% for paid social and paid search respectively, 90 days after adding CTV to the ad mix.
Okay. You mentioned that you can measure go-to performance metrics, but are there other ways you recommend evaluating the impact of a CTV ad?
Yeah, so marketers today also want to understand exactly how their investment in each of their individual performance marketing channels contributes to the actual conversions and revenue they generate, as opposed to outcomes they would have generated anyway. Unfortunately, most ad platforms don't have access to data outside of their own activations. This leads to scenarios where outcome reports don't align with actual sales or lead gen data. This is where Mountain's incrementality reporting can be so valuable. Using control versus exposed audience testing, you can measure the incremental conversions and revenue delivered by prospecting campaigns to see the true added impact of your CTV campaigns on your bottom line. It offers marketers a singular view of the conversions and revenue driven by CTV alongside the result they would have earned without it. The difference reveals that the true lift in outcomes driven by CTV. In simple terms, this means separating your target audience into two groups. An exposed group that you serve ads to and a randomized control group who don't receive your ads. The control group will show you the outcomes you would have generated without your CTV campaign. Once your campaign concludes, simply subtract the conversions and revenue generated by your control group from the conversions and revenue generated by your exposed group to see the incremental conversions and revenue earned by your CTV campaigns. With the insights gained from incrementality measurement, brands and advertisers are able to make more impactful optimization and investment decisions.
Okay, here's another one. The questioner writes, we're new to connected TV. What are some cost-effective ways to produce creative if we're just starting out?
Yeah, great question. So if you're brand new to CTV, there are a few ways we suggest you can get started producing video creative at scale. You can consider repurposing existing assets, like from social media campaigns. This means taking existing footage or stills from previous campaigns and editing them to make new asset optimized for CTV. This is really cost-efficient way to reinvent an old ad campaign or launch an entirely new one without having to spend extra time and money shooting a library of new footage. You can also look into video production marketplaces that can help you get the video you need on the budget you have, or tap into innovative solutions that allow you to bundle media and creative costs together. So we facilitate this in two ways, through QuickFrame and through Creative as a Subscription, also known as CAS. CAS is a way for brands to continuously get new high-performing creative on an ongoing basis by doing what they were going to do anyway, spend money on media in an efficient and impactful way for brands to get on CTV quickly. You can even refresh creative very quickly this way as well. So CAS is fueled by QuickFrame, an innovative marketplace for video makers that brands can tap from a wide range of nuanced skills and perspectives. QuickFrame's model provides brands with a cost-effective way to produce any type of video without the high price tag that can sometimes come with a commercial shoot. Tapping into resources like these are especially beneficial to existing CTV advertisers, as it unlocks a cost-effective and very scalable way to boost your video production, which opens the door for more testing options and the ability to run creative on different channels. Another option for keeping production costs low is repurposing your existing assets, like we said, from social or other CTV campaigns. This means taking existing footage or stills from previous campaigns and editing them and making a completely new asset. This is a cost-efficient way to reinvent an old campaign or launch an entirely new one without having to spend extra time and money shooting a whole new library of footage.
Okay, so we're running out of time, but I wondered whether during your presentation and thinking about these questions, some final thoughts have occurred to you that you want to make sure you leave the audience with.
I think one thing that I really like to focus on is the importance of creative and audience testing. And that's one thing that I think is so unique to Mountain, is you can test and retest and come up with a strategy to make testing something you do throughout the year. And that in turn is going to make us be able to optimize and scale a lot more efficiently. And I think that is something that I really appreciate, and I know our brands really appreciate as well.
Okay, well, I think with that, we'll wrap for today. One thing I wanted to mention to the audience, if you asked a question and it did not get answered, don't worry. The folks at Mountain have received all the questions and will respond to you directly after the end of the webinar. Thanks again to Jessica for a great presentation, to the audience for some great questions, and to everybody behind the scenes at Mountain who helped to put all of this together. We hope you found the information helpful and informative, and remember, the Mountain is going to send you both the recording of the session and the deck that Jessica presented soon. Stay tuned to MediaPost website and digital publications in your inbox for more informative webinars that are going to come from other valuable MediaPost partners in the weeks and months to come. Thanks to everybody for joining today. We'll see you next time, and stay safe out there. Take care. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.